Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and the Chancellor.
I declare that the 589th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning. I'm David Farrar, and I'm the Provost and Vice President Academic of the University. And this morning I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremony and also of welcoming you all to today's Convocation ceremony. I would like to start by recognizing and acknowledging that we meet today on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and the Haudenosaunee nations within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. I would also like to recognize a few of the leaders joining me on stage today. In the middle of the stage is our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge. With Suzanne is the President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Patrick Dean, the Vice President, University Advancement, Ms. Mary Williams, Vice President Academic of Mohawk College, Mr. Paul Armstrong, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Ishwar Puri, and the Dean of Engineering Technology of Mohawk College, Mr. David Santee. We are joined on stage by a number of Assistant and Associate Vice Presidents, Assistant and Associate Deans, Directors, Chairs, faculty members, and honored guests. Before we start the ceremony, I would ask everybody to take a moment and switch off any electronic device you have that may beep or ring throughout the ceremony. And I would now like to welcome our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, to make her opening remarks.
Welcome, honored guests, family, friends, colleagues, and faculty from McMaster University and Mohawk College, and most importantly, graduands. This is an exciting day for all of you who are graduating today, as well as for all those people who have supported you and stood behind you, and in many cases have had a key role in you being here today. You've achieved a great deal to get here, and you should all be very proud of your success and looking forward to what the future might bring. Congratulations, and enjoy the ceremony.
It's now my pleasure to introduce the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Ishwar Puri, and invite him to give his opening remarks.
Thank you, David. This year, McMaster Engineering is celebrating its 60th anniversary. We are marking the occasion by recognizing the big ideas of our faculty members, staff, alumni, and above all, our students. We have much to celebrate. Our students have big ideas. Last fall, for our students, we opened the new Gerald Hatch for Engineering Experiential Learning. This nearly 30,000 square foot building offers space and support for our students to think big and to work on projects outside the classroom. Large building spaces, work areas, and collaboration rooms gives our clubs and teams a playground so that they can learn a variety of extra skills, such as teamwork and design thinking, that help them succeed in the workplace. Our students are successful. We are proud that McMaster Engineering has the highest student retention rate amongst engineering schools in Canada, with 95% of our students successfully completing their first year. This demonstrates how we are attracting the brightest students and providing the faculty and staff support they need to shine once they get here. Our students change the world. McMaster Engineering is one of the most research-intensive engineering faculties in Canada. We proudly include hundreds of our undergraduate students in the research process each and every year, giving them technical skills, work experience, and a network of contacts to grow their careers. We look forward to seeing where your big ideas take all of you. Please remember your Fireball family as you venture out to change the world. Congratulations, and enjoy this very special day with your family and friends.
I would now like to welcome Dr. Patrick Dean, our President and Vice Chancellor, to the podium, who will be presenting our honorary degree recipient.
Chancellor Labarge, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Waguih Ishak. Waguih Ishak is a two-time McMaster graduate who earned undergraduate degrees in electrical engineering and mathematics in Egypt before coming to Canada. At McMaster, he completed his master's degree in 1975 and his PhD in 1978, both degrees in electrical engineering. He began his career at the legendary Hewlett-Packard Labs in Palo Alto, California, as a member of the technical staff and a group leader. There, he developed surface acoustic wave, magnetic bubble, and magnetostatic wave devices, and invented a low-loss surface acoustic wave filter. Over the 17 years he spent with Hewlett-Packard, Dr. Ishak served as project manager for the Sources and Signal Processing Group and as manager of the Photonics Technology Department. His list of accomplishments during this period includes contributing to more than 160 patents and 355 publications. Dr. Ishak moved to Agilent Technologies in 1995. His work there, first as laboratory director for the Communications and Optics Research Laboratory, and then as vice president and director of the same facility, included developing the world's first optical mouse using CMOS images and light-emitting diodes, a technology that became part of more than 400 million devices worldwide. Dr. Isaac then continued his innovative work at Avago Technologies as Vice President and Chief Technology Officer before joining Corning Incorporated as Vice President and Director of the Corning West Technology Center, the position he holds today. In fact, he founded and developed CWTC with a mandate for business development, industry collaborations, academic and venture capitalist partnerships, and working with startup companies. The author of approximately 100 journal and conference papers, as well as 4 chapters of the Handbook of Electronic Instruments, Dr. Isaac is a named inventor on 7 US patents and serves on a number of technical advisory boards with institutions, including the University of Southern California, the University of California at San Diego, and Santa Clara University. He is a member of the Visiting Committee on Advanced Technologies for the National Institute of Standards Technology, a founding member of the Stanford Photonics Research Center Advisory Board, and the chairman of the Technical Advisory Board for the National Research Council of Canada's National Institute of Nanotechnology. Previously, he was chairman of the board for the Optoelectronics Industry Development Association and a member of the National Academy's Committee on Harnessing Light. He also contributed to Optics and Photonics, Essential Technologies for Our Nation, the book that inspired President Obama's White House to create the Integrated Photonics Manufacturing Institute in 2014. Chancellor Labarge, Waguih Ishak is a Life Fellow of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers and a 2015 recipient of the University of California Exemplary Service Award. Today, I present this scientist, engineer, and inventor to you so that you may add to those accolades by conferring upon Dr. Isaac the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Go back over here a bit, if you don't mind.
Waguih Ishak, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa in McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations. No, well, why don't you sign here first and then you can get the paper. I would now like to invite Dr. Isaac to deliver the convocation address.
Good morning. Thank you, Lord, for this blessing. Madam Chancellor Suzanne Labarge, President Patrick Dean, Dean Ishwar Puri, faculty, staff, guests, and undergraduates. Thank you very much for this honor that I'm receiving today. Thanks to my family and friends who came to share with me today, especially my wife, Dr. Hope Isaac, an alumnus of this great School of Engineering, my 2 sons, Dr. Edward Isaac and Dr. Andrew Isaac. But the big thank you go to the families and friends of the 2018 graduates in the audience. You share in the achievement of the graduating class because your love and support made it possible. I'm sure your graduates are proud of you and thankful to you. If for any reason you didn't hear thank you from them, I know they are busy looking for jobs, so on their behalf I say thank you, merci, gracias, arigato, shukran. God bless you all. So I immigrated from Egypt to Canada in 1973. It was a big move for me. I was worried about the culture shock, but it went much better than I thought because many people helped with the transition. I will never forget the welcoming arms and hearts of the people in Hamilton. I will never forget the kindness, patience, and mentorship that I received from the McMaster staff and faculty. And speaking of culture shock, I will never forget the first day I set foot in North America at Toronto International Airport, dazzled by all those signs around me, looking for the men's room, to see this weird sign that says, for bathrooms, use the elevators. So enough about me. Today is your day. It's all about you, the 2018 graduates. On the flight from San Francisco to Toronto, I kept thinking about you and what might be going on in your minds as you are about to embark on your engineering careers. If I were you graduates, I would feel proud, I would feel excited, I would feel eager and grateful. Proud and grateful because you are graduating from one of the best schools of engineering in one of the best countries of opportunities in the world. I know that because I lived here for 6 great years. I know that because over my career I hired many of MAG graduates who made me look very good. I know that because I am privileged to serve on the advisory board of Dean Ishwar Puri and witness he and his team's commitment, determination, and energy to make this school even better. You should feel excited because you are graduating during an incredible era of exponential growth in technology, from 3D printing to autonomous cars, to artificial intelligence, to machine learning, to virtual reality, to augmented reality, and maybe even one day real reality. Many outstanding and innovating companies will be competing to hire you. I know that because I work for one of them, Corning, one of the most innovative companies in the world for over more than 165 years, and we are hiring. And you should feel eager because you are about to use the great education you received together with your creativity to find solutions for problems that matter. Remember that, problems that matter. Solutions that will have a large and positive impact on society and on the environment. So we are counting on you, graduates. We are counting on you to help us live and enjoy long, healthy lives. I saw a billboard in California that says, the first person to live to be 150 is already born. People will live to be 150? That would make retirement age to be around 100. And the midlife crisis around 75. So I can already see a Tesla wheelchair coming. So who will invent and build these technologies that will help us enjoy long lives and healthy lives? You, the graduates. We are counting on you to help us improve our productivities and enhance our day-to-day interactions by inventing novel communication technologies, technologies that will allow us to communicate with anyone, anywhere, even better than we are doing today, and transition smoothly between the home, the car, the office, and the school. Who will invent and build these technologies? You, the graduates. And we are also counting on you to help us improve safety and security in the world. A world free from worries about depletion of energy resources, worries about cyber attacks, and worries about terrorism and global disasters. Who will invent and build these technologies to create such a safe environment? You, the graduates. So yes, we demand a lot of you, and yes, we have great expectations of you. But don't be nervous, not today. Today, you should take pride in your achievement and savor the excitement about your future, because there are so many good things ahead. You, engineers and scientists, are very lucky, because not only are your jobs important, but they are also a lot of fun compared to other jobs. Just look at physicians and doctors, a very important profession. They can be late for work, they always deal with diseases, they are surrounded by people who are not feeling well everywhere, and they are on call nights and weekends. Look at attorneys and lawyers, another very important profession. They have to be in court on time, they are surrounded by people who break the law, they sometimes put people in jail, they sometimes hear testimonies all day and go through reams and reams of paper. But engineers and scientists, you can go to work late, you work flexible hours, you can work from home. You build cool gadgets and go to conferences and publish papers and file patents. You stare out of the windows for a long time, and when the boss comes by and say, "What are you doing?" You say, "I'm thinking, I'm inventing." And here is the best part. You get paid for that. What a fun job. But in fact, 80% of what we engineers and scientists think of, they never see the light. But that 20% that does is what created this amazing array of technologies and products we are enjoying today. So what's next for you? If you are thinking of going to grad school, which I strongly recommend, do it quickly. Don't wait until you start working and get busy. But of course, you have to be prepared for 4 to 5 years of eating at Harvey's hamburgers, which I love. If you are going to join the workforce, make it your responsibility to absorb and learn from people around you. Keep applying your knowledge and build your confidence to reach the point where you will begin to ask the right questions that will make the difference. And in both cases, grad school or industry, you will be making mistakes, no doubt. It will happen whether you like it or not. The important thing is to avoid making the same mistake twice. There are so many new ones, so try a different one every day, please. And you will be wearing a ring like this one. I have it for 43 years. That I hope you'll always keep on your finger to feel proud of your education and profession. People will look upon you with admiration because the ring on your finger signifies maturity, intelligence, and responsibility. And please don't try to trick your friends from the law school or the medical school into believing that this ring improved the cell reception on your phone. Because if you believe that, maybe an MBA is better for you for graduate school. So let me end sharing 3 things that kept me going for the last 4 decades. On my first day at work, Friday, December 1st, 1978, my manager summoned me to his office and told me the following. 1, talk to your peers. Don't use the phone to call them. Walk around, mingle, connect, network. 2, ask questions. Ask questions. There are no dumb questions except those not asked. 3, try to be positive and cheerful around here. Negativity doesn't help. Frankly, at that time, I didn't comprehend what he was saying, but over the years, I realized this guy was very smart. So let me rephrase what he said. 1, build and enhance your network and connections. Don't lose a business card. Don't eat lunch alone. And be a person of interest so people will talk to you. Everything comes out of relationships these days. 2, having a knowledge is important, but asking questions is even more important. It opens doors and opportunities. 3, be positive and cheerful. Negativity is contagious and hard to reverse. So graduates, today is your day. Remember to hug your family member and say thank you. And as you wear your ring, network, ask questions, be positive. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Isaac, for those wonderful comments. I must admit that I almost regret that I didn't go into engineering. I didn't realize that it was just, I mean, the opportunities are obviously more visible, but I didn't realize it could be so much fun. He also just shattered my image of engineers as sort of stolid, solid people without a sense of humor. And so it's been enlightening just listening to him for that. But that's not why we're honoring him. I mean, when you look at the potential and what can be done with an engineering degree, Dr. Isaac is an absolutely wonderful example of what can be accomplished. And what's even nicer is he's one of us. And so I hope that all of you get that opportunity. But in the meantime, we are delighted to be honoring Dr. Isaac today. So congratulations, Dr. Isaac.
Dr. Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Madam Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates and those in absentia in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit to those before me today and those in absentia to their individual degrees at McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all. Please be seated.
Graduates, I will now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you to the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that each graduate's name may be heard, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduands, you would hold your collective applause to the end of each category. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Rana Atala. Hadi Shahnazari. Yu Bail. Sanya Hassani. Jingshan Si. Jun Wang. Madhumanti Bhattacharya. Ni Yineng Jing. Shoka Babui Mababu. Mayday Pormajdanian. Samantha Stambula. Zhao Yu Wang. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science. Lin Feng Zhou. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Applied Science. Sarah Motekef Imami. Martine Viljigas. Christy Chardulo. Madi Eskandari. Nazinin Moshtag. Rem Zutan. Erin Ann Elizabeth Fuller. Roya Pereza. Michael Chitsdaskis. Caitlin Elizabeth Dever. Sarah Elizabeth Felice. Jordan Patrick Krant. Wei Hui Zhao. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering. Mike Hugh Cornell. Keifu Ho. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation. Hassan Islam. Shaheen Bakshi. Pankaj Bhattaya. Harmandeep Singh Grewal. Asfar Imam. Aaron Chen. Manpreet Kaur. Sherjan Paul Mann. Happy Patel. Dhruva Shroff. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Engineering Design. Moaz Asif. Franklin Thomas de la Cruz Dreyer. Arjun Gosain. Leonardo Guerrero. Syed Mohib Hassan. Pravithas Katharamathanatharan. Ravit Kaur. Syed Savek Mosavi. Nilay Patel. Hamed Sagian Najin Esfanhari. Sahan Thesaurus Wejasinghe. Li Yong Shu. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation. Mohammed Fatal. Amandeep Kaur. Yuan Lin Ma. Oladeo Emmanuel Olkulani. Radol Rana. Matthew Jordan Shonwell. Priyanka Singh. Prithpal Kaur Sohai. Zoya Wahadi.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering and Management. Nausheen Abid. Clarence Chiaro de Dios Aguila. Omar Ali. James Ting Boyd. Brandon James Burr. Martin Shutak Chan. Patrick Clark. Alessandro Correa. William Jacob Cohen. Paul Dlugosh. Jesus Flores. No, we're out. That was Erica Greco. Jacob Paul Greenhow. James Ramsey Hamilton. Fadi Hana. Colin Richard Haskin. Justin Hall. Nathaniel Ryan Hu. Marquise Fabiola Kamanke. Stephen Willis Kerolat. Mustafa Ahmed Qasem. Gregory Peter Cruzel. Jonathan Lee Kim. Jing Yuan Liu. Nicholas D. Ma. Mark Anthony Mancuso. Carly Michelle Mason. Saif Naban. Hayden O'Brien. Carmen Elizabeth Peters. Adam Thomas Rankin. Vanessa Raquel Raponi. Robin May Reis. Anatoly Safrala Liev. Syed Aryan Saedi. Bhairav Shah. Christopher Thompson. Emily Kaman Ksay. Jeffrey Douglas Tweedle. Zachary Van Galen. Robert David Ventresca. Max Joseph Wallen. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering and Society. Kieran Dean Cantwell. Cameron Stewart Howe. Michael Taboni. Erica Ibrahim. Gagandeep Jagdev. Jennifer Petronella Henrietta Jansen. Allison Roberta King. Michael Vaughn Kiriakou. Stephen Nightingale. Amanda Natalie Real. Alicia Isabel Sawyer. Haley Rachel Schmidt. Brandon Alexander Smith. Taylor Charlene Stimpson. Ali Wasim. Rebecca Catherine Vivian Weatherall. Tony Kshu. Christina Zuner. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering and Biosciences. Katya Ann DaCosta. Alexander Mariano D'Souza. Ugonva Chioma Echendu. Sophia Crystal Emerson. Alicia Amber Guerrier. Kareem Harji. Angus Lamb. Sadi Lowe. Sergio Andres Luna Nino. Jay Modi. Marie Ruth Price. Nived Rajagopal. Gabriel Robert Sanoki. Cecilia Veraso. Russell Paul Washington. Alexander Walter Heinz Wensing. Carl Orion Zimmerman. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Engineering. Farouk Olanrevaju Aina. Ihab Al-Kolak. Nicholas Benedetto Angeloni. Yamlaka Sarah Tae Arago. Muhammad Ibtehaj Asif. He's gone. Ifra Ahmed Azmi. Shadi Badran. Shasturshan Balachandran. Stephen Ryan Balamut. Shazeb Basit. Jacqueline Bellamar. Matthew Stephen Bertha. Joshua David Bone. Krista Mariko Brennan. Jordan William Capati. Emmanuel Castillo. Ming Chen. Fernando Chua. Vincenzo Cordi. Lucas Dakota Cordy. Nicole Jane Coombs. Anthony Cozzarini. Luke William James V. Crothers. Lean Dababne. Zaid Dawood. Faizan Dhalla. Anthony Dominicus. Yufeng Gavin Dong. Michael Anthony Dudman. Charles Doyle. Natalie Fan. Sarah Maria Fernandez. Joshua Freer. Desiree Bridget Furtado. Sarah Gaines. Ziki Gao. Joshua Gaskin. Yuteng Gay. Andrea Maria Giampuzzi. Roy Yanaskandan. Gareth Joseph Hallis. Muhammad Ibrahim Ui Hassan. Juan Manuel Fernandez. Francisco Kun Yui Ho. Wilson Hopper. Husan Ju Ruby Huang. Usman Ahmad Imam. Alvi Imran Ismadi. Peter Anthony Ivankovich. Noor Amira Binti Jadil. Bashir Jama. Catherine Jerzecki. Jinting Jiang. Salim Anwar Khairullah. Muhammad Karodia. Jesse Zimuzo King. Suleiman Koblavi. Paulina Kotova. Kira Jane Kowalchuk. Salma Latuk. Mitchell Lawson. Nelson Van Lee. Sujung Lee. Jonathan Lee. Xiaohan Lee. Jackie Liu. Justin Patrick Lubert. Roy Luo. Zenhan Ma. Jonathan Robert Philip McKinnon. Megan Bronte McCarthy. Carter Leota McDonald. Nicole Marie McLean. Connor B. Mesner. Serena Morgante. Carla Muraca.
Archie Naik. Michael Naum. Michael Nauta. John Nan. Amir Nurafkan. Azul Fami Nur Azurish. Radoslav Nuravskovsky. Chukiba Michael Naweri. Karijit Panasar. Callum Kinnaird Passmore. Maitri Patel. Wei Peng. Stanley Fung. Nicholas Picallo. Jordan Daniel Pletzer. Stephanie Ji Poon. Lena Kamar. Maha Kwashami. Javad Qureshi. Melina Ralph. Sanjanan Raman. Mohammed Afan Rehman. Tyler Scott Reinardus. Julian Felipe Ryano. Jillian Mary Robinson. Daniel Paul Romolewski. Kun Fang. Ayman Ahmed Sanad. Sylvia Serafium. Abona Sekobi. Joe Seaman. Shane Semenuk Pasek. Rajesh Shrivprasad. Callum Joel Singaram. Peter Edward Sober. Evan Kyle Stevenson. Brianne Marie Stramenga. Chimea Sukamur. Alexander Jack Sutherland. Stephen Julius Sauce. Madison Tang. Alison Tives. Kirishanth Thirukailasanathan. Jerusha Thirapa. Zachary Tilipo. Haya Ahmed Yusami. Michael Valkenberg. Thomas Volchak. Bradley Walker. Zifen Wang. Clement Wong. Samuel Sumyi Wong. Toby Wu. Scott David Wiley. Tracy Zhao. Fan Ji. Brandon Gregory Yaks. Jingchai Yu. Yingwei Yuan. Qi Zhang. Zhaofan Zhang. Feiyang Zhao. Yicheng Zhu.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Technology. Hadil Abad. Ramin Abdul Rauf. Hassan Afzal. Kamran Ahmad. Patrick Alex. Abdullah Ali. Huma Ambreen. Sora Anaptavi. Christian Bong Angeles. Izzuddin Kamal Asi. Sean Richard Auger. Danny Bay. Ravneet Kaur Bajwa. Brittany Nichelle Baker. Christopher Bazalo Gonzalez. Manpreet Singh Beniwal. Albert Raphael Bizenbeek. Ronnie James Blanco. Marina Bocage. Jan Boer. Aidan Gomes Boyle. Raftar Singh Brech. Essen Burney. Kevin Joseph Carapanta. Dusan Selik. Denisan Chandrakumar. Riker Gareth Chapman. Zhang Sheng Chen. Keith Cheng. Kevin Chow. Christopher Paul Matthew Chambella. Marissa Grace Colachetti. Grace Cooper. Jordan Crookall. Bilshan Waris Daniel. Robert De Silva. William Earl Davis. Sonia Demkovich. Dylan DePosta. Gustavo Diaz. Kyle James Donnell. Alexander Ryan Dufal. Nachwa El Asmar. Wizam Mohammed El Hassan. James S. Hiss. Owen Keith Evans. Jessica Lynn Farah. Olin Arthur Flidorf. Ming Gao. Edward Garcia Torres. Peter Anthony Gentile. David Giaveduni. Timothy Joseph Scott Gilbert. John Glenn Gillis. Gerard Goodrow. Firdaus Hasmani. Syed Ghassanfar Hasnain. Adam James Hatch. Chris He. Troy James Henderson. Adam Daniel Hepburn. Jane Chantilly Hernandez. Alexander Peter Hillman. Jack Chun Wang Ho. Dylan Hope. Timothy James Humphreys. Nathan Timothy Hutton. Alexander Mingyu Hung. Patrick Phan Trung Huynh. Abdul Ghaffar Jamali. Whitney Karina Jardine. Cole James Javier. Asar Jezravi. Qing Yang Jiao. Xianyi Jin. Mitchell Arbuthnot Johnson. Sharmin Kasam. Karanveer Khanna. Joseph Kim. Matthew David Coley. Zemdesaw Quick. Joel Lacombe. Duke Lamb. Corey Chester Lazaretto. Alex Lee. Hibin Lee. Chris Chunkai Low. Raymond Kinyan Low. James Darrell Lopez. William Lucht. Marcin Stanislaw Magalon. Reginald Terrence Marr. Richard Klassen Martins. Juan Pablo Martinez Bedoya. Paul Martinsons. Mandeep Kaur Marve. Brendan McGregor. Ryan McNamee. Simon May. Elvira Maleka. Jeffrey Mills. Abbas Mohammed. Tushar Mohan. Joshua Molina. Jacob Joseph Molinsky. Edina Mustaganajic.
Aisha Nazneen. King Young Alfred Ng. Viet Huan Nguyen. Adam Everett O'Grady. Karanjit Singh Panasar. Sanjay Parhar. Cameron James Parker. Michael Joshua Parry. Dennis Petropoulos. Benjamin Thien Pham. Thompson Philip. Kenneth Purton. Ahmed Taha Qureshi. Maud Abid Rehan. Ashwin Rajan. Aaron Arvin Ramacharan. Vinicius Rodas Rees. Carlos Reyes Toro. Zuzana Romano. Jonathan Brock Rosenborough. Harkamal Zagu. Leonardo Sanchez Nieto. Abimanyu Sanamugan. Neil Saraya. Shean Sivaratanam. Akash Shan. Andrew Shin, Demos James Siagulis, Jagdeep Singh, Jagdeep Singh, Jaspreet Singh, Lakhbir Singh, Parminder Singh, Aisha Siraj, Bradley Skinner, Riley William Smits, Nathan Andrew Smith, Sonam Kumar, Cameron Leslie Mitchell Stevens, Jonathan Lucas Satanto Nguyen, Peter Shooter, Edmund Henry Tam, Zinai Grebemin, Jacob Thompson, Stephen L. Thompson, Miransh Akish Trivedi, Thomas Jacob Versteeg, Jesse David Vine, Benjamin James Walker, Alex Wang, Peter Way, Dana Nicole Wiringa, Catherine Rachel Williamson, Elliot Wong, Kyle Daniel Wong, Jiming Yi, Anders Ziki Young, Desmond Young, Tancred Yip, Wei Hao Zhu, Sherry Zhu,
Let's give one more round of applause to all our newest graduates. I would now like to introduce Ms. Sophia Emerson, a graduate of the degree Bachelor of Engineering and Biosciences in Chemical and Bioengineering, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Good morning. Chancellor Labarge, President Dean, Provost Farrar, McMaster and Mohawk faculty, honored guests, family, friends, and of course, my fellow graduates, McMaster Engineering class of 2018. We made it. The marathon is over. The moment we've been working towards since we got here is finally upon us. 4 to 7 years ago, we walked through the doors here as first years, motivated, eager, and incredibly naive. We were thrown straight into the deep end when they first uttered the words open-ended problem in our 1PO3 class, and we spent the rest of the year treading water. But we stumbled our way through clinging to the premise that first year was the worst of it, the weed-out year, and that things would all get better. After all, everyone told us that there was a light at the end of the tunnel that year. They lied. They lied to us. That light was really just an oncoming freight train. Things did not get easier. No, the workload persisted into second year when we settled into our respective streams, and then it escalated into third year when we were hit with a slew of technical courses, and it peaked in final year with that dreaded capstone project. On top of all of that, if you're graduating today with a master's or a PhD, I am impressed that you're still standing. It was undoubtedly a rough ride, but we survived. We survived thanks to endless encouragement from our parents. You believed in us when we didn't believe in ourselves. All right. From the days of helping us practice for elementary school spelling tests, to the days of sending us back to the university with extra food because you knew we weren't prioritizing our nutrition, you have given us unwavering support, and for that we are forever grateful. We survived thanks to our professors, who have shown us time and time again that what you get out of something is directly proportional to the effort that you put in. Thank you for your commitment to our success, for your dedication to giving us the finest education possible, and above all else, for answering your emails at 3 o'clock in the morning. Not only did you save us from a few last-minute panicked questions, you also made us feel a lot better about our own questionable sleeping habits. Most importantly, and my apologies to those who I have already thanked because they are more important, we survived because of the friends that we made. To the friends who had our back with notes when we missed lecture, to the friends who brought us food to the library when we had a late night of studying ahead, to the friends who taught us not to stress about writing last-minute group reports because diamonds are made under pressure. Thank you. I think we can all agree that our time at McMaster was made better because of those friends that carried us through. We've learned a lot here, both inside and out of the classroom. We learned how to calculate uncertainties on day 1 of first-year physics, and we also learned that everything in life has a degree of uncertainty, and sometimes we have to accept when things are simply out of our control. We learned how to perform force balances, mass balances, momentum balances, and how to balance 6 courses, sports, extracurriculars, a part-time job, and a social life, all while getting adequate sleep. We learned that making assumptions can drastically simplify our calculations and put us in a really bad position an hour before a group project is due. You all know what I'm talking about. Oh, I assumed you were going to write that section of the report. The McMaster engineering experience has profoundly changed us in more ways than I have time to list in this speech. However, just as MacEng has shaped us, we have also helped shape MacEng. In our time here, students have spearheaded the creation of important new teams and societies such as Nudos, Formula Electric, and ENGIqueers. Students who are graduating today worked on plans for the Hatch building that opened up on campus just last fall. There are those who helped TA first-year courses, and those who represented the faculty in Welcome Week, guiding the next generation of students who will rise through McMaster Engineering. And don't forget about those course evaluations we were always bugged to fill out. They've helped improve this place too. We've all played a part in making McMaster Engineering a better, stronger community, and we should be proud of the legacy that we are leaving behind. But it can't stop here. We must continue to drive change such as this as we embark on our next journeys in life. Whether that's in an engineering profession, a management position, graduate school at McMaster because you're like me and you're not ready to leave, we all have the capacity to make change. After all, an engineering education provides you with the toolbox to solve some of the world's biggest problems. When I first sat down to write this speech, I had no idea how I was going to convey all of our experiences in just 5 short minutes, especially considering the ample diversity amongst the graduating class. But that's what makes this wildly exciting. Engineers shape the world, and a world shaped by a single individual's ideas would be boring. It's our different passions, perspectives, experiences, and aspirations that combine to make life so much more interesting and worth exploring. So, graduating class of 2018, I encourage you to charge forward after graduation. Refuse to accept mediocrity and fight to have your ideas heard. Through our hard work, we have earned the privilege to build the future, and I am beyond excited to see the world that we create. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. I now call upon Dr. Dean, who will present the President's Award for Outstanding Contributions to Teaching and Learning and the President's Award for Excellence in Student Leadership.
Would Dr. Eugene Ng please come forward? Dr. Eugene Ng has one simple, effective, overarching philosophy that has guided him throughout his 16 years of teaching at McMaster University, which he describes this way: it is all about the student. In all his classes, he is focused on the student learning experience, believing that students learn best by putting their skills into action, whether through problem-solving exercises, by explaining fundamental concepts to their peers, or by considering practical examples and applications. Dr. Ng actively engages his students' understanding and ability to apply engineering concepts through the use of experiential learning opportunities involving real-world problems. He encourages students to test the validity of solutions they propose and engage in troubleshooting, building the practical skills needed to be successful engineers, as well as allowing his students to gain confidence in solving complex problems. Drawing on his own research methods and experiences, he encourages students into understanding that engineering solutions are never based on one single discipline, and he supports them in acquiring critical skills, including experiment design, analysis of problems, process optimization, and understanding the broader social and environmental impact of the potential solutions they propose. Dr. Ng is dedicated to the success of his students and committed to providing the support needed to ensure that even the most difficult concepts are understood. These are the words of a former student. He would spend hours outside of class with his students, answering each and every question until each student understood the concept. It seemed that while our goal from these tutorials was to pass the tests, his goal was to ensure each of his students walked away with a stronger understanding of the subject and confidence in our abilities. Empathy and understanding are key elements of Dr. Ng's teaching philosophy. In acknowledging and understanding that the needs of the student body change over time, Dr. Ng focuses on tailoring his pedagogical style to reflect and engage his students in ways that are relevant to them. His students have come to appreciate the advice and support he gives as they navigate their academic careers and beyond. Dr. Ng's former students comment on the ways in which his guidance and support helped shape their lives and instilled a sense of inquiry and curiosity that remains with them long after graduation. Eugene Ng's dedication to the success of his students and his commitment to supporting and mentoring them throughout their time at McMaster and beyond make him a worthy recipient of the 2018 President's Award for Outstanding Contributions to Teaching and Learning. Congratulations, Dr. Ng. Now, turning to the President's Award of Excellence in Student Leadership, would Vanessa Raponi please come up to the podium? Vanessa Raponi, a graduate from the Bachelor of Materials Engineering and Management co-op program, is a leader, a mentor, a tireless advocate for inclusion and diversity, and an empathetic, optimistic thinker. Vanessa founded McMaster EngiQueers, a transformative initiative that touched off a tidal wave of positive change and acceptance for LGBTQ+ students. Under her leadership, it grew into NG Queers Canada, which now has 31 chapters in 9 provinces. In the Engineering Change Lab community, Vanessa has been a strong voice for diversity and change and helped bring Boeing Winnipeg Diversity in STEM pilot program to fruition. For her scholastic excellence and her activism and community contributions, Vanessa received the Engineers Canada Gold Medal Student Award, the Honor M Award, the Image of an Engineer Award, the Canadian Engineering Memorial Foundation Ambassador Scholarship, the Community Contribution Award 3 times, and the Mars Apprentice Epiphany Coaches Leadership Award. In addition to her remarkable academic career and trailblazing work in equity and inclusion, Vanessa has a unique resilience and ability to turn adversity into a source of strength and inspiration. She was the keynote speaker at a fundraiser for the Raise the Roof initiative and shares her childhood experiences with homelessness and poverty to create awareness and drive change. Not only is she a born leader, Vanessa is also an exceptional role model and mentor, helping her peers and others develop leadership skills and confidence so they can join her in creating a brighter, more equitable world. Congratulations, Vanessa.
Congratulations, Eugene and Vanessa. I again call on Dr. Puri, who will present the Ontario Professional Engineers Foundation for Education Medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the Ontario Professional Engineers Foundation for Education Gold Medal, which is awarded for outstanding achievements in a program in engineering. I am pleased to announce that the winner is Omar Ali.
Congratulations, Omar. I now introduce Janelle Hines, a graduate of the Bachelor of Engineering class of 2015 and a representative of the McMaster Alumni Association. Janelle will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Barrage, President Dean, Vice President Armstrong, Dean Shanti, award winners, honorees, McMaster and Mohawk faculty, fellow alumni, guests, and especially McMaster class of 2018, you guys looked amazing crossing the stage. Facebook memories reminded me that I graduated as a biomedical and electrical engineer 3 years and 3 days ago, and it had me reflecting. Crossing the stage marks one of the most significant changes in your life. It marks not an end, but a new beginning. You're moving from your career as a student to a career as a professional, from being an undergrad student to a graduate student, God bless your souls, and maybe you're gonna trade the goals and routines of a university for something more freeform and personal. We all experience graduation transition in our own way. When I graduated, I tried to start my own business. I failed, I went to work for the hospital, and now I traded it in to run Helping Hands, a grassroots organization that's focused on inspiring and empowering young people to be change makers and build skills. So rather than advice, I'm gonna have 6 asks for you. So 1, whether you're part of an organization or you're doing your own thing, please speak up. You are intelligent. You crossed the stage after all. If you see something like a product or a process that can be improved, let your teammates and your bosses know. Look for problems to solve. For those that went to high school in Ontario, you know that trying to find somewhere to do your 40 hours of volunteering in order to graduate could have been really hard. It might not be obvious, but I figured out how to use my engineering skills to address this issue. Now I'm able to improve the lives of young people across Ontario. 2, never stop learning. You should continuously be improving your skills so you can innovate and improve this world. And sometimes this may even mean transition into another organization. 3, let your bosses know your career ambitions. You will reach your goals so much faster. If we look around this room, we can see how diverse it is. So my thing 4th, ensure to strive your workplaces aren't just diverse, but they're also inclusive and they promote equity, not just on gender, but for race, for people with disabilities, and sexual orientations. The products you make will benefit from this. 1, don't be afraid to ask for help. Even reach out on LinkedIn to all your fellow McMaster alumni. And last, be ready for change. What won't change is that the experience earning your degree will always be a part of you, and that you will be a part of this community. At other times, that connection will feel strong, and sometimes it might just take a backseat gracefully to other priorities. But when you do want to turn that lifelong relationship into an activity, a social media connection, volunteering, or one of the other dozens of opportunities the McMaster Alumni Association will be there for you. That's our job. You can read about your alma mater and your fellow alumni classmates in MAC, the news magazine for alumni, either in print or digitally or through our monthly e-newsletter, Maroon Mail. You can be a part of MAC alumni communities on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and even Instagram. And if you really like sharing news and bragging to your friends about all the great things happening here at MAC, join our team of social ambassadors called Social Marauders, and we'll be thanking you with some great swag. And if you're staying in the area, I would encourage you to participate in MAC 10 events. These series of events and services include career assistance, mentoring, and online and in-person networking, and great social design specifically for new grads like you. And if you find yourself living far away from McMaster, keep an eye out for the calendar events, as we do try to make our way around all corners of the globe from time to time. And when you leave today, I know that it's likely nothing I've just said will stick with you, and that's fine. The association has just sent you an email with a fun little quiz reflecting on your university years. And when you take the quiz, take a moment to look around the website, alumni.mcmaster.ca. I'm guessing you'll be surprised of just how much is available to you now as a grad and throughout your life. I personally love Question of the Week. All that advice I gave earlier may seem daunting, but you can get help from McMaster. So whenever you're ready to connect, we'll be here. Members of the class of 2018, my sincerest congratulations on your convocation and welcome to the McMaster Alumni Association. We are very proud indeed to have you join the McMaster alumni family. Well done.
Thank you, Janelle. I now invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver his President's address.
Madam Chancellor, Dr. Isaac, Vice President Armstrong, distinguished colleagues, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Convocation, one often points out on occasions like this, is a communal event, a calling together of the different members and constituencies of the university family for the purpose of celebrating both individual achievements and our shared vision and mission. In a public institution like McMaster, where the education provided to students is very clearly understood to be both an individual and a societal benefit, speakers like myself tend to address themselves to the balance that all of you, our graduates, are expected to strike in the lives you will live beyond today's ceremony. In one form or another, the advice you're typically given is this: seek personal fulfillment and success, but never forget your obligation also to serve the greater good. In such a context, you're unlikely to hear anyone celebrating the virtues of ambition, a human attribute our culture on the whole regards with suspicion, because we associate it with selfish, indeed sometimes antisocial attitudes. We talk, for example, of someone displaying naked ambition, meaning ambition unmediated or uncontrolled, not linked to a purpose beyond itself. Now, that is the kind of ambition that Shakespeare was thinking about in his play Macbeth. I expect many of you know the plot of that tragedy. Macbeth is a Scottish general whose ambition is kindled by, of all things, a group of witches who predict he will one day become King of Scotland. He becomes consumed with ambition, plots to murder the king, and pondering that course of action, utters these famous lines: "I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other side." And my daughter, now in her 30s, has spent her life riding horses, so I'm well trained to identify that as an equestrian metaphor. A rider, properly in control of their horse, pricks the sides of the animal with their spurs to initiate a jump. The point of Macbeth's surprisingly candid observation is that there's no particular goal spurring him on, nothing other than what he calls vaulting ambition, or the desire simply to jump, with no regard for the point of doing it. His, in other words, is a selfish or uncontrolled ambition, which he acknowledges gets easily out of control. It o'erleaps itself, as he says, and can end in confusion or disaster, as indeed it did for him, who in at least one film version of the play wound up with his head on a spike as a lesson to others. That's why people are wary of making ambition a theme for convocation speeches. At the same time, though, it is important to acknowledge that ambition in some form must play an important role in the work of universities and the lives of the people who comprise them and graduate from them, whether students, faculty, staff, or alumni. So, for example, you're all here today celebrating your graduation because you've aspired to achieve this moment. Each of you knows how much hard work has brought you here. And so I hope you're right now experiencing the pleasure of personal ambitions legitimately fulfilled. If you're not sure quite what comes next, that's fine and understandable, and it's certainly no indication that your ambition has o'erleaped itself. The desire for knowledge, enlightenment, understanding, and to solve problems is always a sufficient spur to action. It is ambition of a very pure and admirable kind. But many of you have greater and more concrete ambitions than this, I know. That's one of the things that make universities such wonderful places in which to work. While they exist in a sense because of ambition, because of our determination to know and to understand and to have an impact in our world, they nourish our imaginations and they fuel our even greater aspirations. And by doing that, they prompt us to identify even more challenging goals for ourselves and for our society at large. Universities are places, in other words, in which the innocent and not so innocent ambition of individuals can and should be channeled for the betterment of our society and our world. In 1918, the British philosopher Bertrand Russell, for whose archives, as some of you may know, McMaster provides a home, was about to be imprisoned for his pacifist activities. Pondering proposed roads to freedom, he wrote this: "While the great majority of men and women in ordinary times pass through life without ever contemplating or criticizing either their own conditions or those of the world at large, a certain percentage, guided by personal ambition, make the effort of thought and will which is necessary to place themselves among the more fortunate members of the community. But very few among these are seriously concerned to secure for all the advantages which they seek for themselves. It is only a few rare and exceptional men and women who have that kind of love toward mankind at large that makes them unable to endure patiently the general mass of evil and suffering, regardless of any relation it may have to their own lives. In this passage, Russell admirably describes the way in which that always slightly ambivalent thing, personal ambition, is transmogrified in some people into unambiguous good, as some seek to secure for all the advantages which initially they seek for themselves. Ambition for the self turns into ambition for the good of society. Speaking almost exactly 12 years ago at Northwestern University at an event just like this one, Barack Obama drew attention to what he called a certain poverty in the ambition individuals have for themselves, because paradoxically, he said, it asks too little of the self. This is how he glossed that point. It is only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential. Obama's point was partly that personal ambition is not necessarily incompatible with an altruistic social vision. Indeed, that the latter is frequently an extension and even a fulfillment of the former. Now, all of this is to acknowledge that while our society is nervous about ambition, as well it should be given certain recent events on the world stage, humanity will go nowhere without it. And we must continually find positive and constructive ways to stimulate ambition, to articulate it, and to direct it. As graduates of McMaster, you are the beneficiaries of 130 years of positive ambition. What an effort of thought and will went into the establishment of the Faculty of Engineering itself, into the opening of the medical school in 1970, the construction of the McMaster nuclear reactor in 1957, the establishment of the McMaster Museum of Art, the invention on our campus of problem-based learning, the founding of numerous world-class McMaster research institutes, not to mention the science and art of discovery as practiced in labs and classrooms across the campus every day. This year, McMaster has been acknowledged as the most research-intensive university in Canada. For the second year in a row, we are a finalist institution for the Global Teaching Excellence Award offered by the Higher Education Academy and Times Higher Education in London, England. McMaster rose to 66th place this year in the academic ranking of world universities and was up 35 places at 78th position in the Times Higher Education World Rankings. So to put this in context, given that there are more than 18,000 universities in the world, that means all of you are graduating from an institution in the top half of 1% globally. You could not have made it here without ambition, and McMaster could not have achieved that kind of standing without generations of thought and will and a determination to pursue and to achieve the highest goals possible. Anyone who has walked across our campus during the past year will know the goal on which we have most recently focused our attention, the achievement of a brighter world through education, research, and engagement with our community, whether you define that community locally or globally. Now, in many ways, there's nothing new about this as the focus of McMaster's aspirations. Ever since our founding in 1887, the mission of this university has been to serve society by contributing to the advancement and application of cutting-edge science, by deepening our understanding of society and culture, and by fostering and celebrating creativity. Pursuing the highest possible standards in each of those areas is what has brought us to our current standing in Canada and the world. But is the pursuit of excellence in and for itself a sufficient justification for the investment which society makes in investments like ours? Indeed it is, and must be. But nevertheless, if we go back to that passage from Macbeth, we will remember that there are certain dangers in a self-justifying, vaulting ambition. What was missing in the case of Macbeth's ambition was, remember the phrase, a spur to prick the intent, a motive, an incentive, a goal. Those brighter world banners everywhere to be seen on our campus are intended to remind us that all the work that goes on in the university, research, teaching, learning, creation, innovation, is ultimately done in service of a particular goal. And that goal is the realization of a world that is healthier, happier, more just and equitable, more peaceful, better informed, better at balancing human needs with those of the planet, and richly creative. The university is in that project, as they say, for the long haul, because it is obvious that such a goal will not be easily or quickly achieved. Great scientific discoveries take time and patience, as does the work to explore and develop potential applications for such discoveries for positive societal benefit. So the pursuit of human and societal health and well-being is a long-term investment. The positive ambition which drives the university is in that sense open-ended. It is an energetic and relentless pursuit of answers to the questions we pose for ourselves and of solutions to the problems that impede human advancement. As graduates of McMaster, you are part of that ambition. Indeed, you are one of the most important ways in which our desire for a brighter world can be realized. Your natural talents and energy, combined with the skills and disciplines acquired during your studies, make you powerful agents for positive change and advancement. You must have confidence in that, believing, as Marie Curie wrote, that you are gifted for something and that this thing, at whatever cost, must be attained. My hope is that you will use this power, each in your own way and in your individual lives, in service to a properly ambitious vision for the world you will want to inhabit. And I hope finding the place in that vision for your personal aspirations will also bring you great joy and satisfaction. We're immensely proud of you, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to the class of 2018. As a fellow McMaster alumni, I'm looking forward to see where you all go from here. And the one thing I can say is you'll probably be surprised where you end up. And I think if you look at Dr. Isaac as a perfect example, is some of you will end up being as successful as him in a total different area. Some of you won't be. Everybody has different aspirations, skills, interests, strengths, and weaknesses. And my hope for all of you is that you find yourself in a position where you can realize your full potential and contribute to the society around you. But I also want to come back to a point that President Dean made when he talked about Convocation being a coming together to celebrate the individual accomplishments and in a community. And it ties in very much to what your valedictorian said. You aren't here because you are who you are. You had enormous amount of support to get here. First, from your family. Second, from all the friends that you have made here and that supported you as you got through your education. And I come back to that because as I attend a number of alumni events, I realize how many incredibly strong friendships were made years and years ago at university. Because those 3 years where you come in, as your valedictorian said very clearly, very naive, and you grow up, and you go from there out into a workforce. Those years are very powerful, and the bonds that are made there are extremely strong. And I encourage you to foster them, to keep them, because you will value them all your life. So, but the other thing I want to say is each of you, I've made the comment, you wouldn't have made it without the help of others. So as you leave here and enter the workforce, I would ask you to remember that. You've had the benefit of one of the best educations in the world. And I would like you to remember that you need now to provide support to other people to be able to realize their potential. It can be done by joining the Alumni Association and helping keep the industry, the university strong, or you can do it in other ways, but I would ask that you do it. And I just want to end by echoing so much that's been said by everybody else here today. We are incredibly proud of you, all right? We wish you, and I wish you, all the very best, and all my hopes and ambitions go with you as you leave here today. Congratulations. I have a few final announcements. A reception will be held for graduates and their guests in Hamilton Convention Center, Wentworth Room C, immediately following the ceremony. Finally, I would ask that you please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. Please join now in the singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.